Hello and good morning and Happy New Year to everyone. Richard here at Kelvin Wazoo, and I'm doing my last, I believe, Vinyl Tag 2022 video. This one is from Stunty at the channel Stuntrock Confusion. So, as with the other vinyl tags, there's a bunch of questions, 22 questions for the year 2022, I guess. And I've got my selections all put together. So let's get going with this one. All right. My first record that I bought in 2021. I'm pretty sure this is it. One that I had been looking for a while, the Eponymous album, Placebo. Great album. I was listening to this last night and, just really overwhelmed by this record. And I'm so glad, that I found it. Every song is lyrically very meaningful, and also musically, these guys kill it. All right, so Placebo, the first record I bought in 2021. The last one that I bought, well, what is the real last one? Because I typically buy not just one album when I go shopping. I usually buy more than one. But anyway, and I've talked about this one recently, and that's this Blues Jam in Chicago. This is a music on vinyl release that recently came out. Really, really nice. I mean, you've got Fleetwood Mac on here, but you've also got Otis Spann, Willie Dixon, Shaky Horton, J.T. Brown, Guitar Buddy, Honey Boy Edwards, and S.P. Leary. So they were at the Chess Recording Studios here in Chicago. And then you've got all three of the guitar players from Fleetwood Mac. You got Peter Green, you've got Jeremy Spencer, and you got Danny Kirwan. So, this was great stuff. All right, a long pre-order. There were a few pre-orders that I made last year that I actually ordered in 2020, and then it was well into 2021 before they were finally issued, and then I received them. And one of them was this score to, well, it's not really a score, but it's the songs from Evangelion, and the record is Finally. This was something that's a nice pink splatter vinyl. Something that was released in anticipation of the final 3.10 or whatever of the Evangelion series, long anticipated final installment in that series. So there were a couple Evangelion records that were released. I tell you, the original score to the film, I think it's a double LP set, is like one of the grails I would love to own. The problem is it's like $700 in Discogs, and I'm like, that's crazy. But man, I would really love to have a copy of that. All right, a cheapo record that I bought in 2021. That's this, Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. This is a fun record. This is Western. There's country and Western. This is Western. And good stuff. It's actually a white label promo, not that that matters. But yeah, it was a cheapo, and I really like it. All right, the record I spent the most on, and I'm kind of presuming that that's going to be the one I spent the most on ever, not necessarily in 2021. And that's going to be this year, Zappa in New York. This is my, the card I slipped in here is my OG true OG uncensored copy, because it will have a slightly longer unedited version of Big Leg Mama, but the addition here is Punky's Whips. And I'll be talking, this is the next, so Punky's Whips is at the end of side 1, you see here. This was a song that was removed, and so subsequent pressings, because of a lawsuit, didn't have that song on there. They had already released several hundred copies, perhaps as many as 1,000 copies for retail sale in Europe. They were recalled back, but obviously not all of them made it back, and some of them had already been sold. And so, yeah, most expensive vinyl I've ever bought. It's less than what it has sold for. This is sold for as much as $400. That's a lot. I paid way less than that. I paid less than $200, but more than $100 for this to have in my collection. All right. Record, a brand new artist discovery in 2021. And this is a new one that I made. The band is Geese. They're from Brooklyn, and in fact, in a couple of weeks, they're going to be playing here in Chicago. And this is one of 2 copies I have. This one is on this sort of, I don't know, is it mustard yellow or butter yellow? And then I have a black vinyl release. Really solid stuff, a kind of a blend of math rock and post rock and just really great stuff. The band members pretty much were all high school chums. They started playing in high school, and then even before they graduated high school, or right at the time of high school graduation, they get this record deal. So yeah, the record was released in 2021, and I got it in 2021. All right, a record most out of my comfort zone. And that's this one, Sun Ra, the heliocentric worlds of Sun Ra. And, you know, I've given this a listen. I've given it a couple listens. And it is a challenging listen. It's the first Sun Ra record I ever bought. And I'm not going to say that I don't like it, but it hasn't really quite connected or grown on me yet. So, but periodically I give it some other listens, and gradually, you know, I'm kind of beginning to accept it for, you know, what it is. But it has also created in me a great amount of hesitation, in that I just don't know what Sun Ra record to get next, because you know, I don't know. It's from 1965, so geez, you know, he was out there. But I'm still willing to get it. So it is, though, very much out of my comfort zone. And I like some musical material that is out of the comfort zone of a lot of people. But Sun Ra is probably the biggest challenge for me. All right, a pride dig. And so, yeah, I was up in a record store up in Evanston a month or so ago and just digging through their records, and boom, this popped out. And I'm like, yeah, gotta have it. So it's Reuben and the Jets for real. You know, Frank Zappa had an early release called Reuben and the Jets. And I've done a video about this that, you know, you can find, you know, through my Zappa playlist. I'll have a link in the Down Under. But short story is, you know, these guys loved the album Reuben and the Jets. And then they were also doing R&B, soul, doo-wop kind of music, and they asked Frank to if they could use the name, and he said yes, and he also produced and performs on this record. It's really, really good stuff. All right, next one is a new genre I'm starting to embrace. Now, by starting, I'm not saying that this is something I'm starting to embrace really recently. I've always been somewhat of, well, not really a fan, but I've always enjoyed electronic music, and in its different aspects. And yeah, there's a lot of electronic music. Probably one of the first electronic recordings I had ever heard was Switched On Bach. And then, I like, Tangerine Dream. So there, and then there's also some subgenres of electronic dance music that I enjoyed, but I haven't really started collecting. And so, because one, it's really an unknown world to me. And, what's the difference between, see, something like Yellow Magic Orchestra never really clicked with me. And Kraftwerk is one that doesn't quite connect with me either. So it's a gradual situation, and one of the recent acquisitions, I've been looking for this for a long time, and that is this Acid Mount Fuji. Really, beautiful cover. And it's Susumu Yakota is the person, behind the music. And yeah, it's definitely electronic music, and I truly enjoy it. Okay, next one, favorite cover art. Well, this is an acquisition from 2021, and I was listening to this last night and thinking, man, what a solid and brilliant album. And that is Twin Fantasy by Seat Headrest. And I really like the cover art. It has this Escher quality to it, in that there is no clear boundary between where one figure begins and the other figure ends, or whatever. It's just all looped in together. Fantastic album. Just, to me, not a bad track on this double album set. And the more that I've learned about Will Toledo and the background and inspiration for this particular record, the more I have come to appreciate and understand certain parts, like the motif of the ocean wash over your grave, the ocean washes open your grave, that. And then at the end, where Will is saying that you'll always, when I come back, you'll always be here, meaning the person that is the focal point of the story, or the stories, is always going to be here. So he can always go back, and that person will always be there. I really, really like that. All right, a record from my teens that I finally acquired. Well, yeah, this is Pinups, David Bowie Pinups. I mean, I knew about this record when it was released, and I would have been a teenager at the time, 13, 14 years old, 1973. And but I knew it was covers, and it wasn't original Bowie material. For the most part, there might be one on here that's the original Bowie. But anyway, so I just kind of dismissed it, never really listened to it. But then when I started to learn more, within the last year or so, about Syd Barrett, and particularly the song See Emily Play, and that was one of the songs that Bowie covers on here, well, then I put it back on my radar, and I got it, and man, I just really love this record and the covers on it. So yes, one that I've record from my teen days that I really never had, and I finally have it now in my collection. My most anticipated record of 2022. I've said this in other videos, and that's going to be Anything by the Canadian punk band No Means No. I've heard rumors that they may be reissuing some records in the catalog. I don't know if that's really going to happen, because to find copies of their releases is, number one, difficult, and when I do find them, they're expensive, and they're often in Canadian sellers or other sellers even in Europe. So then you've got the added expense of postage. So, and I'm not the kind of collector that has, everything's got to be an OG. If there's an acceptable repressing of something, I'm going to be perfectly happy with that. So I'm really looking forward to the reissue of the No Means No catalog. Definitely want that. Okay, a record I love, but I haven't played in a while. And so that's probably this one, Nirvana, Nevermind. And this particular one is a 4 LP, big super set. Not really a box set, but it's got a lot of the features commonly associated with, being a box set. But anyway, yeah, I really like this, but Nirvana is the kind of band that I like to play loud. And the only way I'm going to do that is with my headphones, because, I don't want to be disturbing my neighbors living in a high rise. But I just really haven't played it in quite a while. But it's just, I really like it. It's an outstanding album. Really love it. Again, not a bad song on the whole thing. All right, next one is a record from my family. And that's going to go with this one. This is Peter Ustinov and Peter and the Wolf. We also had the Toy Symphony by Haydn performed on here. I remember this, and this is on the Angel Records. I remember this like when I was 4 years old, maybe, listening to this, and really, really loved it. It was for that age, a great introduction into not just different musical instruments, but how stories could be told musically. So, yeah, wonderful childhood record still in my collection. All right, next one, a turning point record. Well, that's going to be this one, Headhunters, Herbie Hancock. So I remember when this was released, 1974, is it? Is that when it was? Somewhere around there, 1974, right? And I should know these before I start these videos, because it really takes up some time. 1973. Okay, 1973. Anyway, I was close. But yeah, I remember when this came out, and that was kind of my introduction to jazz fusion, and also a little bit, I talked earlier about electronica, and it was a turning point because now there was this whole new world of music that I was becoming aware of. It was really popular, the songs on here. Just about every high school jazz band was trying to play Watermelon Man and what's the other big song that everybody wanted to play? Chameleon, right? And yeah, Chameleon and Watermelon Man are the two songs that almost every high school jazz band, wanted to learn how to play. And I remember seeing a few perform it, and fantastic kid musicians. All right, next one is a non-release or non-record release. And I'm going to go with this film that was released this past year, Zappa. So the Blu-ray edition of it. It's a really good, well-done documentary. If you're already, a major Zappa aficionado. It probably isn't going to provide you any new information. It does provide, for me, it confirmed some things that I suspected about Frank, and it provided a perspective in which to view them. In particular, his marriage arrangement and living situation with Gail Zappa and what was going on there. So, and also with his kids, there was some more clarity in terms of the relationship that was provided between himself and his children. So anyway, the film Zappa had the score as well. Really, really good film. What's next? A band from the past that I never bought anything until now or recently. And yeah, I'm going to say the Monkees, all right? I mean, I knew about the Monkees. I remember watching the TV show, but I just really never kind of got into them. Even when I got older and started buying records, I just never really, picked up on records by the Monkees. But all right, I am now, because it's great pop music and really, really fun stuff. I enjoy listening to it. All right, a want list record that took the longest to find. And I think this is probably the one that's taken me the longest to find. Not that I never saw it in Discogs. It's just that often the copies, again, that I saw in Discogs were in Europe. So there was always this added expense of shipping, which made this record very, very pricey. And I was kind of holding out that I might find it in the wild. And one day I did. This past year found it, and that is God in Three Persons by The Residents. And it's on this clear vinyl, and while the cover, and I'm going to need to get a new cover, while sometimes I don't care about the cover condition, this one I do, because the libretto is on the inside of the gatefold, and there was a lot of water damage. Excuse me, don't want to sneeze. A lot of water damage, so the lines that are along the bottom of the inside of the gatefold are unreadable. So I would like to get a better copy, which the cover is, VG plus or even near mint, and I don't care about the condition of the record. The condition of this record is actually really good. But yep, so this is one that's been on my want list for quite a while, and finally found a copy this year. All right, now we got a VCLT or present received in 2021. As I mentioned in the other video, I've never really received any VCLT from anyone in the vinyl community. I have received some gifted albums from friends and others. And yeah, this one was gifted to me over the holidays, and that is Whitney Houston's Christmas, the Holiday album. And I like me Christmas music. I like holiday music. And so very appreciative that I got this. One of those people who, I'm an atheist who loves Christmas and loves Christmas music. All right, a record that I would send as VCLT. I'm kind of thinking that this Big Star, the #1 record, I'm thinking that I might gift this, because this is one where, it was on my want list because, I was kind of like told that, all right, this is a great record and you need to have it. And it is, I'm sure it is a great record. I just don't connect with it. I'm the same way with Radiohead. I just don't connect with Radiohead. I thought I could connect with My Bloody Valentine, and I really haven't been able to connect with My Bloody Valentine either. And a copy of My Bloody Valentine, Loveless, the copy of that I had, I did gift, sent it as VCLT to someone else. And I'm kind of thinking that this record is in the same same boat. It's in near mint condition. I've only played it once, I think. And just that first one time, it wasn't like, I need to listen to this again. It was more like, I don't really like this kind of thing. So anyway, so this might be a VCLT candidate. All right, a record I bought, not because of the artist. And I talked about this in another video, a couple other videos, and that's this one, Pachinko. And the only reason I bought this record is because of the title of the record, which is Splendor in the Ass 2, Electric Boogaloo. Plus we got this nerdy boy with the pink background on the cover. This is an alternative Tentacles release, noise rock. It's good. When I did listen to it, it's good. I like it. This is good stuff. Post-punk noise rock. A little bit on the metal side there. The bass player is just an animal with his playing. So anyway, that's a record that I bought simply because of the title and not knowing anything about the artist. All right, and then the last one is a record no one else knows about. So I'm going to go with this one, Delta Haints, Ashes of My Mojo. This is a limited pressing single. Says on here, this one is number 358 of 500. It's on Third Man Records. Kind of blues rock, and I bought it on a lark or whatever, and I like it. It's got some information in here about, the Delta Haints, which is Kurt Thomas on cigar box guitar, Paul Buckley, Lou Rubino, Jazzy Blue doing lead vocals, MJ Baker, Spencer Albee on a Wurlitzer organ, and Matt Vance baritone sax, the legendary Rich Gilbert on pedal steel. And then, okay, so here's the record. You can see that it is a blue vinyl with that. So, yeah, record that I found, and, I'm sure not a lot of people know about this record. Good stuff. That's my final tag for Stuntrock Confusion. And I'll have a link to Stunty's channel so that you can check out the video for this vinyl tag and check out, the list of questions. Hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe my channel. You don't have to, but, hey, it does help. But always remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.